Hello there, everybody. Good afternoon. It's Jessie Marie, and I am here with the Jessie Marie Does Stuff podcast, episode 5. This is going to be part A. And the reason that there is going to be two parts is really it's twofold. First of all, I've been gone for a really long time, and so I kind of wanted to post something today just to let you know that I am still alive, and I am still crafting, and I am still reading, and I guess, and I am still podcasting, but I was apprehensive about recording on a Monday, and then again recording on Thursday. I had mentioned this in a previous episode where I felt kind of funky about recording 3 days separately, but I'm going to split this into two parts because I've been gone for so long. I have so much to talk about. I have done a lot. And so today is the sole focus for today is going to be on cross stitch. And the reason that I'm doing that is largely people have been asking where I've been, what I've been up to, what's going on with the podcast. Those are people that are following me for the cross stitch. And so this is for you. So thank you for checking up on me and making sure that I was still doing okay. I am fine. Before I get into all of that, I just wanted to do the typical podcast stuff. Today is Monday, July the 6th, 2015. This is Thor saying hello. Yes, he scratched a hole in his face. This is the Jessie Marie Does Stuff podcast. It is a multi-craft podcast where I talk about cross-stitch, knitting, as well as reading. I can be found on Ravelry. My username is Hokie Knits. That's Hokie Knits. I am also on Instagram. My username there is at Jessie Does Stuff. Show notes for the podcast can be found on the blog at jessiedoesstuffpodcast.blogspot.com. And welcome. Here we are. So I guess I can talk about where I've been for the last month. I'm going to make this short and sweet. I was sick. I had a week where I had 4 migraines in a week, which is kind of insane. We went on vacation. I had to contend with the weather. I don't record when my fiance is home, and he was home for a week after we got back from vacation. Work. So many things. I mean, there's so many reasons. Every time I thought that I was going to try to record, I just couldn't. It didn't pan out how I wanted it to. There was one time where I was going to record and then I was like, no, I really feel like stitching. So sorry. But stitching took precedence only on one of those occasions. I mean, it's been 6 weeks since my last episode. June happened since my last episode, which kind of blows my mind. But so that's really why I was gone. Thank you so much for checking up and making sure that everything was okay. Nothing extraordinary. Also, thank you for your continued support despite the absence. I get the occasional email that I have a new subscriber, and that is just the greatest. I do this podcast for you all. I talk about these things because I know that you're interested, and so to see people continually interested, it makes it all worth it. So thank you. So I have handwritten notes this time because I have a lot to talk about as far as cross stitch is concerned. So if you see me looking down, that's why I've got my notes here. I want to start something with my episodes for my podcast. This is going to be a segment called the Shoutout. And basically this is born from the fact that negativity has somehow managed to find its way into our wonderful community. There has been some negative comments left. There has been some bashing and bad talk and backstabbing, and I can't stand that. I don't like the negativity. And so in order to not give that negativity any more power than it's already attempted to take, I'm not going to give voice to it anymore. And instead, I'm going to shout out a new floss tuber a different floss tuber every episode. And these will be typically geared towards the floss tube community, because our community is my favorite. And I just think that we need to build some positivity. And so this week I am going to shout out a new floss tuber, somebody who is new to the scene but is taking our community by storm. And her name is Katie. Her channel is The Stash Queen. She is here in the floss tube community courtesy of Coffee Stitcher Garrett. So thanks, Garrett, for convincing her of joining us. Katie is phenomenal. She has 59 whips and a stash that makes me drool. She has already enabled me, and I think she is 4 videos in. And I am planning my wedding, and I could see myself allocating some of my wedding budget to stash, because I'm just in awe every time Katie puts out a video. Katie does an update video every Sunday where she talks about the whips that she's worked on for the last week, as well as the whips that she's going to work on for the coming week, because with 59 whips, she has a well-organized rotation that really works for her, and I just think that's phenomenal. I really enjoy her videos and the projects that she's working on. Very an accomplished stitcher, and I just can't wait to see what else she does and what she brings. So, Katie, thank you so much for joining FlossTube and for showing us all of your goodness, and keep it up. So there, as far as the FlossTube Shoutout segment is concerned, I'm not taking nominations for this. This is something that I am doing, and so if you want your channel featured, maybe I'll feature it, but I'm not going to take nominations or votes or anything like that. This is supposed to be not a popularity contest, but just an emphasis on the positivity. So that is that. Now, you might be seeing the screen shake a little bit, and that's because my ever so loving bulldog down here keeps hitting his rump on the leg of my table. He has zero interest in me recording right now, but as I've told him several times, this is happening today. So I apologize if he decides to interrupt a whole bunch of times. Yeah, you. Okay, so that's the FlossTube shout out. The next thing I wanted to say was thank you. I've never been one to stalk my subscriber count list or my likes or my video views or anything like that. I'm not really somebody who's doing this for like my 15 minutes of fame or whatever. I just like talking about cross stitch, and I don't really have anybody in my real life who can appreciate what I do like you guys do. And so the other day when I saw that I had reached over 1,100 subscribers, my mind was blown. Like I had no idea that it had reached that level. Honestly, you guys, it just never occurred to me. You know, there are a select group of people that I interact with on a very regular basis, and there are not 1,000 that I interact with on a regular basis. And so I just want to say thank you 1,000 times over and over again for joining me and watching my videos and sticking with me despite the fact that I've been a little bit inconsistent over the years. I just noticed the other day that I am coming up on 2 years since I started recording videos on YouTube, and so I'm planning something pretty cool for that. I know that it's customary that when you reach these milestones as far as your numbers of subscribers are concerned to do a giveaway, and unfortunately that is not who I am. I am eternally grateful for everybody that subscribes. But I want the reason for people subscribing to continue to be that you want to see what I'm working on. I don't want people to subscribe to my channel because I'm doing a giveaway. I am planning a giveaway, so that is what it is. But I just want you to know that I'm really, really grateful for your subscription and for taking the time out of your day to watch me ramble on. And it means a lot to me. So yeah, you guys rock. Seriously, you are the coolest. Okay, so now that I have talked for 11 minutes about non-visual things, let's start talking about my whips. About a month ago, I told you guys that I was going to work on one whip until she was finished, and that is my mini pearl. I have deviated from that significantly enough to warrant discussing it. I finished page 7 of Mini Pearl, and I decided to switch projects for a bit. I really wanted to work on something that was over 2. I wanted to work on some specialty stitches. I just wanted to do something just a little bit different, just to break up the monotony of Mini Pearl, because that many teeny tiny little X's without any deviation, it can get, I don't want to say boring, but I just needed a break. I just needed a temporary break. And so I pulled out my chatelaine. And so my chatelaine is my Frosty Knot Garden. And the last you saw this, the last anybody on my channel had seen this, I had finished only this corner here. And then when I pulled this back out most recently, I finished the corner. Hi, darling. Hi. Yes, hello. Okay, get down. Thank you. I finished up this corner piece here. And so I did all of the specialty stitches and the stitches with silks, which was just a dream. It's amazing how rough cotton can be when you're working with the silk, but it really is rough. And once I finished this corner piece in a day, because I was just really, really enjoying it. So I kept going with this. I just decided to stick with it until my bug on it ran out. And it ran out pretty quickly. This up here is the start of part 5. I decided not to finish up part 4 for the whole design because I was already up here on my frame and I was just going with my stitchy bug. I was just doing whatever my bug told me to do. So I started work up here. And this big blue section here is DMC. It's 100% DMC. No, it's not 100% DMC. On the top, and I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it. Oh, you can kind of see it. There's the little bit of sparkle there. That is a petite treasure braid. I think it's PB10. I'm pretty sure that it's PB10. It's basically a clear metallic. And this particular part has some regular cross stitch with it, and then there's also some half stitch where you pull the treasure braid tightly to sort of make the fabric a little bit lacy. The effect is phenomenal. Like, it looks really nice if you can see it. And that is really that's really the struggle, because it's clear. It's clear metallic on white fabric. Lacy. So it was just really hard to see. I enjoyed doing it, but I had to commit myself to it, because if I lost track of where I was, it was really hard to get it back. So anyway, so there's that. And then the blue is all DMC. And then I decided to work on this part here. And that is mostly DMC. Again, the blue and the pink, or it's like a purpley pink, kind of. That's DMC, and then the white around is a silk. And then I started working on the back stitch in that section, which you can kind of see. I kind of did the back stitching in there. It's supposed to be frosted, again with that PB10, which is basically clear. I did it kind of on that side. And then I was like, gosh, I switched up DMC for DMC. Like I'm continually working with cottons. And I really enjoyed working with the silks. So I wanted to work on something with silks again. So I put this down. Now this all happened on a Sunday. So I worked on this that Sunday and then decided to switch up. So then I switched for my Pumpkin Patch Farm sampler from the Victoria Sampler, and I'm not going to show it to you because I've made zero progress whatsoever. The saga is that one of the colors that it calls for, my kit that I had ordered to go along with it, provided a length of Harvest Grape from Gloriana Silks that was the rainbow. And it was, in the design, it was meant to depict like leaves that had fallen and dried on the ground. So we're talking oranges and rusts and maroons and yellows and maybe even greens. We're talking those colors, not purple, not blue, not a deep green. But the length of thread that I had was going to give me those colors, and I was just not happy with it. So I had ordered the Fiberlicious silks. I ordered the fall collection because there are several beautiful, very autumnal colored silks in that pack, and I was like really excited. I have never worked with Fiberlicious silks before, so I was really anxious to work on this, get a chance to use those, continue working with silks, and finally solve this issue with this pattern. Well, 2 strands of Fiberlicious silk amongst the Gloriana and the Dinky Dyes and the Krennic Silk Mori looks very thin. It's almost like indented compared to the other stitches. The other stitches are very fluffy, especially the Glorianas. For whatever reason, they're very full silks, whereas the Fiberlicious silks are very tightly twisted and very thin. So I stitched with 2 strands. I didn't like it, so I pulled it out and stitched with 3, and I like it because then it was beveled, like it was too high amongst the rest of the stitches. And that probably wouldn't have been that much of a big deal because, again, it's supposed to look like leaves that had fallen on the ground, and so it's okay if there's like some 3D effect, but I just, compared with the color palette of the silks that were provided versus these Fiberlicious, the Fiberlicious are so bright and so vibrant, whereas the Victoria Sampler pack, pretty muted. I mean, really pretty standard autumnal, but like a gray day autumnal. Very quiet colors. And this bright orange, yellow, rust Fiberlicious didn't look right. I mean, it just didn't fit with the design. On top of the fact that the silk looked different and it was 3-stranded. Just to get the full stitched look, I was like, I'm not gonna win this. So I pulled out the Fiberlicious again, and I put the project away because I was so frustrated that I just said, I'm obviously not gonna win this battle. So I'm going to put this away and I'm going to stitch on something that I want to. So I started flipping through my patterns of the things that I had. Keep in mind, this is all the same day. We're still talking about one Sunday. And I pulled out a design that I haven't worked on in a long time, not since the beginning of May. And I pulled out my Leslie Tier Heron. And the last you saw this, I had just a mania start done on this. I had some of the border complete, and I had a little bit of this background blue and pale green sort of like mottled effect done. And so in this one day, I decided to stitch on this because I really do love this piece. I love Leslie Tier Designs, and I miss working on it. So I pulled this one out and I worked on it for a while. And I have since learned, Thora's gonna say hello again. Oh yes, can you say hi? Oh yes, hello. Okay, now get down because you're not allowed up here. I have since decided that I don't particularly like even weave. That is not the popular opinion anymore. I know a lot of stitchers really like the even weave, and I just don't. I don't know if it's the quality of this even weave. This was a cheap piece that I got from Michael's. But I don't like what it does to my stitches. It kind of, I don't want to say that it twists the threads so much as, I don't know, it just makes them lay differently than what I had intended. So anyway, I stitched on this for a while, and then I ran out of this pale green pleat color in down here. And so I just told myself that I was just going to stitch until I had run out of that. And then once I ran out of it, I just put it away. So, and I don't mean run out like I ran out of the color. I mean run out as in I ran out of the length of floss that I had clipped for this pattern. So I got almost the first page done. Not quite, but I'm getting there. So I'll pull this out eventually. It'll be really quick to do. I love the color palette of this. I'm really, really enjoying it. So that's that. So decided to stitch on that until I ran out of that color, and put it away. So then I was like, all right, I guess I'll pull out something else. I didn't want to work on mini pearl. And the reason I didn't want to work on, I remember now, the reason I didn't want to work on mini pearl this day is because the following Monday, we were getting ready to start the first Stitch-a-thon hosted by Cross Stitch and Discuss Group. And I knew that I was going to be focusing on mini pearl for that event. And so I wanted to work on something else just so I didn't burn myself out on it before this event started. So I wanted to do something else. So I was still in the mood to stitch over 2. I was really listening to my Stitchy Bug, like my Stitchy Bug was sitting in my head going, all right, this is what we need now, this is what we need now, this is what we need now. And so it told me that I needed some over 2, I needed some linen. I didn't necessarily need silks because I apparently was losing the battle to silks on this particular Sunday. So I flipped through. I could have pulled out my Long Dog sampler, aka Maggie, but I didn't because I didn't want to work with that solid green. I really just wanted something colorful. I was after color, I was after linen, I was after over 2. So I pulled out a new start. And this is the Ellen Morris-Stroh Flower of the Month series. This is my very barely new start on it. I'm going to stitch all 12 on this piece of linen here, but this is the part of January. And that's all I got done before we decided to have dinner and watch shows and whatnot. This is stitched on a 32 count cream linen from Witchelt. Witchelt? Is it Witchelt that does the orange bit? I can't remember. You guys know this. Anyways, it's a bit of linen that I got from Hobby Lobby or Michael's or something. And yeah, that's what I got done on it. So not a whole lot, but something to get started. So there's that. So, and that's all that I worked on that Sunday. Can you believe it? Like hardly anything at all, right? I had Stitcher's ADD like you would not believe. I just couldn't focus. And Sundays are my big stitchy days because Danny will hang out with Thor and he'll play his game and watch TV. And then I go into our bedroom and I just stitch all day. And so to feel like I bounced between projects, I feel like I spent more time switching projects than I did actually stitching that day. But oh well, that's not a big deal. So, okay, so then we had the Stitch-a-ton for Cross Stitch and Discuss. And my team, Team Silks, ironically, did not win. I stitched as much as I possibly could during this week. Unfortunately, at the end of this week is when we were leaving for vacation. And for vacation, we went to Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. For those who are unfamiliar, it is an amusement park of epic proportions. So very limited stitching to accomplish. Now, there was a day where there was a tornado in the area, so there was some time spent in the hotel room, on top of the fact that I don't deal with being super hot very well, so I spent some time in the hotel room, and I did do a little bit of stitching, but I've become a bit of a snob, and I don't like stitching without my stand. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. And so stitching one-handed was really hard. So I kind of did this origami, like I made my body into origami to try to stitch to. It was a mess. So I didn't accomplish a whole lot that Thursday through Sunday, or Friday through Tuesday, I guess, because, you know, we were out of town and traveling and whatnot. So anyway, however, there has been 5-6 weeks since the last time I showed you Mini Pearl, and I have done a lot. I just watched my video this morning about the last time that I showed you her. My mind is blown with how much I've gotten done. It's really quite astonishing. So I'll go ahead and grab her. So here is Mini Pearl. Now, the last time anybody on YouTube has seen her, I was over here. I had half of page 7 done, so I had about that much done. And so I have since finished page 7, page 8, and I am more than halfway through page 9 now. Crazy, right? This is bananas. So, Mini Pearl. This is a design from Heaven and Earth Designs. The artist is Rachel Anderson, and I have been stitching this for over 2 years, but she's going to be done this year. I am so excited. She's so close to done. I have done something that just makes me so excited. This butterfly here, there. The bottom half of it was in this page 9, and I have finished it, which means I have finished stitching all of the butterflies on Mini Pearl. I can't believe that I've finished anything on this design, let alone the last of anything. I have stitched colors that I won't need for the rest of the design. I am on the last bit of scroll work. You can see in here, I'm doing some of the scroll work. I'm doing the last bit of that for this design. I am on the last full length page, but I have 0 full pages left because this one is partial by about half a column or so. Not terribly partial, but. How cool is this looking? I love her dress. So when you're stitching her dress, the colors look so funky. I mean, like there are some bright reds in there, bright pinks, bright shocks of color, amongst the more tonal pale pinks, brown pinks. But then you step back and it's like, oh, that totally makes sense. The shaded effect is perfect. I mean, it's just perfect. I am so in love with her. This is being stitched 1/1 on 25 count Lugana. My ideal fabric for Heaven and Earth designs. Get down. Get down. Thank you. Thor wanted to see. He also wanted to say hello. So I'm going to set Mini Pearl down because she's heavy. I'm not taking her off the frame because I am actively stitching on her. Yeah, she's really coming along. I've spoken about this before in my channel, but Mini Pearl, underneath where I have stitched, I have about, I want to say 4 inches of fabric. 3.5 of those inches are to be relegated to stitching. I did not measure 3 times cut once. I measured once and I was like, yeah, that's big enough, and cut. And I didn't fray check my fabric, so I've lost some of the fabric to fraying. And so I'm going to have to sew some scrap fabric to the bottom to stitch the rest of it because I can't get to it. I can't get to the bottom from where it is, and it is at the end of my scroll. So I keep looking at her because I'm just in awe of where I'm coming along on her. So yeah. So I think that I'm gonna have her done by mid-August. If I continue to focus on her like I have, I'm gonna have her done by mid-August, without question. If not sooner than that, because I can commit to about 500 to 700 stitches a day. On Sundays, I can do anywhere from 700 to 1,500 in a day. It depends on the level of confetti. And once I get this scroll work done, there's no confetti left, like none. So I'm thinking that I can get her done pretty quickly here once I get a move on. So that's really exciting. It's really exciting. I'm going to have her done in 2015, finally. Very, very cool. So I have just one more work in progress to show you, and it's actually a new start. The reason I started it was for the Cross Stitch and Discuss. It is the Freezing into a Puddle challenge. It's basically the summer challenge where you can stitch a medium. You're challenged to stitch a medium-sized summer-themed or winter-themed design. And the goal is to get it done in the time frame. And I wasn't going to join, but I couldn't help it. I did anyway, because I'm, just wild like that. So I am stitching a design that I got out of a magazine. Okay, so there is currently a discussion going on about stealing in the stitching community, and it's hashtag real stitchers don't steal. So I just wanted to show you that this design that I'm about to show you came out of Newsstand, which is the Apple app for digital subscriptions. And so you can see my subscriptions there. Now I'm just going to click on Cross Stitch Collection, and that's going to take you to my summer still life. Let me see if I can do the big version here. Yeah. So this is what this design is going to look like in the end. Just pretty sunflowers in an orange vase. Nothing too exciting, but beautiful nonetheless. I really, really like this. I want to have it in my house. And so here is where I got to on the first 2 days that I was stitching on it. see if I can organize this. This is always my struggle. There we go. So, pardon the folded fabric, but that's how it goes. So what you can see there is the beginning of the vase. We have the one flower up top here coming out of the vase, and then the one down here that's fallen. The designer here is Perman, which is a, it's not attributed to any one person, it's attributed to the company Perman. And so that's where I got to. Now this would look a lot better if I had the rest of the colors for the vase. I was apparently missing 6 colors out of my DMC stash, which I just didn't even think was possible to be missing that many colors. But nonetheless, I was. And so that's why that looks so funny. It doesn't look filled in because I didn't have the color. So that's where I'm at with that. And I will pick this up as soon as I get further along on Pearl, or as soon as my Stitchy Bug says, hey, we need a break from Pearl. It's not there yet. I'm still really enjoying Pearl. But I have this if that ever happens. So that is it for my whips. It's quite a lot, considering I told you all that I was only going to have one whip until she was done. But, you know, stuff happens. So, talked about whips. Let's talk about my new stash. I have 4 things to show you for stash this go round. My spending has been curbed almost completely to a halt, with minor exceptions. The first thing was, once again, enabled by Miss Carolyn Mazio, whose name pops up an awful lot in the FlossTube community these days. In one of her recent videos, she was talking about the giraffes that she was going to stitch. And this was before she had started, so this was before her most recent whip update. And she had said something about on the hunt for a giraffe pattern that was real life looking, that didn't look like a cartoon. And I perked up immediately. Like, normally I'm passively watching FlossTube videos, I'll admit, because I'm stitching and I have my iPad usually sitting in my lap, and so I'm stitching, but I'm listening to everything you say. Well, during Carolyn's video, she mentioned that she was looking for a real life looking giraffe pattern. And I stopped. I mean, I dropped my needle on my minder and I zoned in right to where she was to watch the video to see what she was talking about. Because I have been on the hunt for an elephant pattern that looks real life. I have seen lots of elephant patterns, but they're usually cartoony. Like, they're usually on the jungle wildlife baby samplers or baby designs. Or they're usually the silhouette elephants against, like, an African sunset. Or they're a kit by Lenart, and it's $85 for the kit. And I don't really want the kit because it covers a whole bunch of things and not just a real life looking elephant. So when Carolyn mentioned the Jane Netley Mayhew Cross Stitch Safari book, I ran, not walked, ran for eBay to find this book. I want to stitch my way through this book. Seriously, I want to stitch everything here. And so I bookmarked the elephant's design. This is not the chart. This is just the book. Can you see that? Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I love the little baby. And then this one here, wise, but like looking on, watching the baby. I'm obsessed. I am so obsessed. It makes me want to drop everything and do this. I'm waiting a little while because I need to hold off a bit. I'm so in love with this design. And with this entire book, really. I mean, this book is full of projects. Let's see if I can find another really big one. that I love. This one is the giraffe pattern that this book features. And it's a little bit different than the one that Carolyn is doing. I think Carolyn's is coming from a magazine, if I'm not mistaken. But this is a really gorgeous giraffe pattern as well. Oh, there's a funny one. It is the chimpanzee. And he's making a face. Yeah. How cool is that? Just beautiful. So, Jane Netley Mayhew is the designer, and she has a huge series of things, of wildlife images that she has converted to cross stitch. And so, be on the lookout for the elephants in the near future, in the not so distant future. Okay, the next thing I got is from, this is from Charting Creations. Charting Creations, if you don't know, was started by Nikki. And Nikki used to work for Heaven and Earth Designs, and she does no longer. She has her own company. And so I decided to go ahead and pick up one of her patterns. And so I got the owl silhouette. I love him. How cool is that? I'm going to stitch this in a variegated floss on a beautiful hand-dyed fabric. The details for which are forthcoming, but I'm not going to share them all with you now because I'm not starting it yet. But he's big and beautiful, just so cool looking. I cannot wait to start this. And he's big. On 25 count, 1/1, 26 by 26 centimeters, which I'll be honest, I'm such an American. I don't know what that is in the Imperial. But nonetheless, love it. So cool. So there's that. And then the most amazing thing happened. Truly, the most amazing thing happened. Somebody on Facebook shared that they had found this pattern for a digital download. I didn't know that this pattern was available anymore at all. It was originally put out by Cross Stitch and Needlework magazine. However, the issue of this magazine is either far too much out of my price range and willingness to spend, or you just can't find it. I have been on the hunt for this pattern for so long, and to see that it was for digital download for like under $10, I ran again, running. I'm gonna hurt myself. It's a good thing I put my needle down before I start all of this running. This is the Nora Corbett Trick or Treat Fairy. She's the Halloween fairy. And this was out from Hirschner's, and the first time that I ever discovered Mirabilia and Nora Corbett designs, I saw this. This was the first one that I saw. I am in love with her. Like, seriously? She's so cool. I love the pumpkin and the spider webs. She is an owl. There's a ton of beads. I am so excited for this. And this was digital download, and I just printed the whole thing. So I can't wait to start her. I am on the hunt for a good fabric, but I haven't quite decided on a fabric yet. But nonetheless, I think this is going to be my Halloween project for this year. Last year I did Gigi. This year I'm going to do this girl. She needs a name. Maybe Trixie. Trixie? I think so. I think her name is Trixie. So, there's that. And then, because I was on Hirschner's looking at Nora Corbett and Mirabilia patterns, I found this one that I have never seen before. This is the Sunflower Fairy. Again, by Nora Corbett. I think she must be another one that was... She must have been another one that was published in a magazine and is no longer available or something. I don't know. I've never seen her before, but I think that she is just the cutest. She has French knots. Are those French knots? Or are they beads? Oh, they're beads. Okay. They just look like French knots. So anyway, so I got her too. And so I want to start her before too long as well. I really like on the dark brown fabric there, so I might do something similar to that. Beautiful, beautiful pattern. So that's the Sunflower Fairy. And those are all of my purchases for a month. Yeah, not much more to say about that. So the last thing that I wanted to do was the year in review. And these questions were originally put out by D. Stitcher. I had set some plans for the year 2015. I think I published these plans at the end of 2014 in December. And I had mentioned that I was going to take June to reevaluate and to maybe amend some things, and to have a look and see what my plans were. Compare notes, really. But D. Stitcher put out these 4 questions related to the past 6 months that really kind of accomplished that. So D, thank you so much for putting these questions out. I'm going to assume that this is meant to be a tag. So I tag everybody else who has not done these questions yet. So I'm just going to grab a sip. To you Texans who say you drink Dr. Pepper, I'm not a Texan, which is why I can drink Diet. Anyway, question number 1. Is the year going the way you thought? No, not at all. If you remember my plans, I had said that I was only going to make 2 new starts in the year 2015. Mirabilia Persephone and Heaven and Earth Designs Hearth of Gold for the bulletin board stitch along. I am not finished with Persephone, and I have broken up with Hearth of Gold. So that obviously hasn't gone as planned. I didn't set any specific goals as far as what I was going to finish when, but I did say that I wanted to finish Mini Pearl, and so I suppose that I am on track with that. But I did say, other than those 2, no new starts. I didn't even count the number of new starts that I've made so far this year. Because we all know that I've made a whole bunch of new starts. Shortly after I published that video talking about no new starts, I published a video about my plans for the Cross Stitch It's Fun stitch-alongs. It was originally 12. It's grown to something like 27, I think. I have by no means participated in all of them. I have by no means made new starts on all of them. But I have made a lot of new starts. I started, just, a quick recap. I started a new Heaven and Earth design, In This Moment by Jeremiah Kettner, which is huge. It's on a piece of 25 count Lugana that is 27 by 36. I have started the Northern Expressions needlework, not quite white work stitch along, which is again on a piece of 36 count fabric this time, and also 27 by 36, a humongous piece of fabric. So 2 huge projects right off the bat. I started 2 projects in the last month that I just showed you. I participated in the first 3 days of Stitch Mania. Yeah, I've made some new starts this year, and to be honest, I'm not ashamed of it. Like, I'm not beating myself up about it, because stitching is what I love, and I happen to like making new starts. New starts make me happy, so I'm okay with having a whole bunch of projects on the go. It doesn't bother me much. On top of that, of the projects that I have started, I have finished a few of them. I started the quote stitch along in early January, finished that one. I started the spring sampler from the Prairie Schooler. I finished that one. I finished one of my oldest whips that was still in my stash, the Valentine Snowman. I haven't finished a ton of things, and I certainly haven't fully finished anything, but I am finishing things nonetheless, and I am working, and I am cross-stitching, and that's really what matters. So that's the long story reason for why I say no, this year hasn't gone the way I thought it would. Question number 2. Have you learned anything new about yourself this year? Have I learned anything new? I like new starts. I can break up with a project. I think I've broken up with 4 projects so far this year, which is pretty impressive. Just projects that I've just decided I'm not going to finish, and I'm okay with that. I used to be I started it, so I'm going to finish it kind of a mentality, and I don't hold to that anymore. What else have I learned about myself? I have learned that once I put my mind to it, I can get it done. Mini Pearl is evidence of that. As I said, I've been working on her for 2.5 years. In 2015, I have finished 3 pages, and I have 4 more that I'm gonna finish this year. So 7 of 12 I've done in 2015. That's astounding. But because I put my mind to it, I was able to get it done. I have learned that I don't like stitching without a frame. And I don't like stitching without a frame in a stand. I am a bit of a tool snob in that regard. I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just a me thing. I have learned that I have a very eclectic, evolving taste in designs. I have gone through phases in this year alone where I liked modern, I liked cutesy, I liked reproduction, I liked prim, I liked Mirabilia, Chatelaine, Heaven and Earth. My tastes have gone all over the map. And I have also learned that a stash diet for me would have the opposite effect. If I tell myself I'm not allowed to buy anything, I'm more than likely buying something at that moment. I can't do stash diets. However, by not making myself do a stash diet, I am doing a stash diet. Like, it's got to be some sort of reverse psychology within myself, but basically, by not calling it the thing, I am doing the thing. So, whatever, hey, it works. So yeah, I've learned lots about myself, as far as my stitching self, anyway. Have you learned any new techniques? Black work. I did start my first black work design this year. There have been a couple of specialty stitches that I had never done, like the Jessica. I haven't done any finishing on my own as of yet. And I haven't even watched the tutorial videos that people have been putting out, like Tara C. and Carolyn. I haven't watched them because I will watch them when I'm getting ready to do those sort of finishing. New techniques. I've learned my own version of parking. I call it parking across country. I will be sure to go into more detail about that, but basically it's just my own method of stitching full coverage designs. That's kind of new. Yeah, that's pretty much all that I've learned. And then what do I hope to accomplish for the remainder of the year? I'm going to keep this loose. I have 2.5 projects that I would like to finish this year. 2.5. And the rest, if I don't finish them this year, it's okay. this is also excluding Mini Pearl because I am going to finish her this year. I'm going to finish her before fall. It's just going to happen, barring natural disaster or unnatural disaster. I mean, really, she's getting done this year. There's just no question about it. So I hope to finish my Chatelaine Frosty Knot Garden. I hope to finish the Summer Still Life by Perman, the one that I started for the Freezing into a Puddle challenge for Cross Stitch and Discuss. And I'm going to do everything in my power to finish Persephone by Mirabilia, because I want to have a Mirabilia finish every year. And this year it's Persephone. So I hope to finish her this year. She's my half because it's not impossible that I won't finish her. Just because I have so much left to do with her that it's a big task to say that I'm going to finish her this year. So, Chatelaine, Frosty Knot Garden, Perman, Summer Still Life, and Persephone, as well as Mini Pearl, and then we'll see what happens with the rest. I would like to make progress on all of the rest of my projects. I may make a couple of new starts. I don't know yet. But I'm not holding myself to no new starts, and I'm not holding myself to no new stash, and I'm not holding myself to any really hard and fast rules. So that's what I hope the rest of 2015 brings as far as my stitching is concerned. We're over halfway through the year, which is wild. I just can't believe that 2015 is almost over. It's been a really good year, and it's been a really intense year, and I can't wait to see what the rest brings. So, FlossTuber shout out. Hello, I am still alive. Works in progress, new stash. Year in review 6 month by D Stitcher. I guess that's all. So, as far as the part B of episode 5, I will see you on Thursday or Friday, depending on the weather, really. You will have noticed that today it's been a little bit variable. We have some storms that appear to be rolling through, either coming in or just leaving. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's Virginia. You can't count on anything as far as the weather. So I'm going to stop rambling now. Thank you guys so much again for subscribing, commenting, liking, all of that stuff. It means a lot. And I hope to be back more regularly now. In the meantime,